Today is Saturday, January 11th, 2020. I wasn't going to do a vlog just yet. I want to do a little bit of prep work. But I'm kind of pinned. So, in regards to how things are going. So, I figured with these things, first I'd probably give you an update on what's going on. And then maybe some deeper thoughts if I have any. So, in regards to my stories, I've actually set a goal of writing 50 words a day. And I haven't hit every day, but every day that I've hit it, I've hit beyond 50. So that's what I figured. 50 is not a lot of words when it comes to a story or a novel or anything like that. Unless you're writing microfiction or like Twitter fiction, 50 words is like nothing. Paragraph. Excuse me. But like I said, every time I sit down, I write more than 50. Usually double, sometimes 3 times, 4 times as much. And considering my schedule, that's what works. So, when I was in the Marine Corps, we'd have to run a 3-mile run as part of our physical fitness test, or PFT. And there was a time limit, a minimum time, and a maximum time. I never got anywhere close to the minimum time, for a max score. But I actually did a few decent runs. Running has never really been my thing. At least not something I haven't been good at. In regards to the maximum time, I never failed to run. Even when I was at my worst, I never failed to run. And the reason why is you just never stop running. No matter how slow you run, you just never stop. One foot in front of the other, left, right, left, right. You just keep on moving. And by doing that, you'll make the maximum time. You won't necessarily get a good score, but you won't fail the event. And provided you have at least some speed, it's not hard to get there. And that's essentially what I'm doing here is, certain days, certain weeks, I'll do better than others. This was a very hard week for me, personally. And, excuse the shaky cam, my dogs are shifting around. But if I can get in and, just keep running, just put some words on a page, or a screen in this case, then, you know what? Sooner or later, I'll have a first draft of a story done. Which is as far as I've ever gotten since high school, where I had to write and turn in projects. So that's where I am with my story. Right now I have a working title of The Wizard's Sellsword. I'm pretty sure that's going to change. It doesn't really have a good ring to me, but who knows, maybe it'll grow on me. High fantasy. Noticing I'm saying a lot. I need to go back to my college public speaking course. Alright, in regards to Ironfound Metalworks, my metalworking business. Haven't really done anything as far as the business end, but I am actually still working on school. Still working on my MIG widget, which is our practical test for each process, each type of welding that we do. We do a widget, which is basically they give us a blueprint for a certain shape, certain measurements, and certain ways things are supposed to be cut. And then we build that widget. It has no functional use other than it demonstrates different types of welds in different positions, including uphill, which is my least favorite. I hate welding uphill just because I am so bad at it. I'm hoping to get better, and I need to get better if I'm going to get this thing passed off, but that's that. Also, still been increasing my education by watching videos by people like Alex Steele and Black Bear Forge, people of those natures. Ranching, Red Riding Hood Ranch, once again, just been trying to continue my education where possible. I've been watching a lot of This Wyoming Life, or I'm sorry, Our Wyoming Life on YouTube. If you're at all interested, maybe not in doing, but just knowing the process of ranching, I highly recommend him. He's a former radio guy, so he doesn't say nearly as much as I do. He's got a good voice for it, and he knows how to communicate effectively. What's really helpful for me is that he gives numbers. He gives situations, and he's very, very upfront about it. And while he doesn't do the type of ranching I want to do, he has a cow-calf operation, basically, where what he does is he has a breeding herd. He raises the calves to a certain point, and then he sells them off. And those calves will go to basically whoever wants to buy them, but usually they go to feedlots where, CAFOs can find feedlots. And that's not the type of ranching I want to do. I actually want to grow out to finish. Jack Spirko from the Survival Podcast talks about his thoughts on his farming when it comes to livestock. Is those animals should only have one bad day, and if you do it right, they don't even know they're having a bad day till it's over. And that's what I want to do. And the way I can ensure that happens is that all the way up until that one bad day, they're on my land, and they're under my care, and I can do whatever I need to do to make sure that they're not being shoved into an overcrowded feedlot. At least overcrowded in my opinion. So that's actually, once again, that's Our Wyoming Life, and it's a really good channel. I've also been watching a lot of Justin Rhodes. He does not exactly what I want to do, but more the methodology that I want to do. By the way, this is Max. He was actually the first dog that we got. Funny little story. I swore up and down that I would never own a Chihuahua, all growing up. I always wanted a dog, but I swore I'd never own a Chihuahua. I have 3 of them now, and I love them dearly. So, what's that old line, never say never? But, yeah, he wants some attention. Anyway, so Justin Rhodes does things more along the lines with the same philosophies that I want to do, though he does different things. But I'm actually still learning a lot from him, and that's my main thing. Is if I can't actually do it right now, I should be learning, increasing my education. Mini painting, I just haven't done anything with it yet. If I wasn't pinned down, I would have been more prepared, and I would have grabbed my mini from the truck. But I used my painted mini in our last game, and it actually went over really well, and it was a lot of fun. Um, so, some other things. One of the books, I think I mentioned this in the last vlog, that's been very influential to me was The Miracle Morning by Hal Elrod. Once again, that's The Miracle Morning by Hal Elrod. And what he did is he went and took all of his, he did some research, found out what the most successful people do. Because, if you want to run with the big dogs, find out what the big dogs do. And oh great, now he's getting Milo into the action. That's Milo. He's the one we've had the least amount of time. And so he's kind of like the little brother that they love and hate at the same time. And he loves to pick on Max. So, anyway. And he came up with this concept called S.A.V.E.R.S. It's an acronym. And so the S stands for silence. The A stands for affirmations. The V stands for visualization. And the E stands for exercise. The R stands for reading. And the S stands for scribing. So, the S for silence is things like meditation or prayer. As I mentioned in my last video, I do have a spirituality. I am not a person who particularly enjoys going to church, but I do believe in God. I do believe in my religion, and I go to church because we're supposed to. And sometimes that's enough. I am a checklist person. I actually have a personal checklist that I have these savers on, plus a few other things that I want to make sure I'm working on. And something I've noticed is, when you do something, there's different levels that you do it on. And sometimes they have what I refer to as a checklist quality. So like a checklist prayer, a checklist reading, a checklist whatever. And things done at the checklist level just enough so you can check it off in good conscience don't give you as much reward as if you did it with full intent and purpose. That doesn't mean they don't give you any reward. And that's one of the things that I've noticed, especially when it comes to my spirituality, is sometimes you just have to give a checklist prayer. Sometimes you just have to go to church just because it's the right thing to do. And yeah, you're not getting the full benefits if your full heart and soul was in it. But sometimes it's enough. Once again, going back to the analogy, just one foot in front of the other. Just don't stop. And the more you do even checklist items like that, the more you start getting into it. And you know what? There are times where I've cracked open a book and read a paragraph. Couldn't even tell you what that paragraph was. It was just, alright, I'm supposed to read, I'm tired, I'm busy. And this is Rocky. Rocky tends to be the most disruptive when he decides to disrupt things, because he actually has enough mass on him and enough determination to actually force his way into things, and this is him wanting a belly rub. So, last time I kicked the dogs outside. This time, I didn't. And I do want these to be raw videos, On the last one we had a lot of audio and technical issues. And my wife, who is extremely talented, do not let her tell you otherwise, actually has a degree in multimedia. So not just graphic design, but multimedia, where she does audio, video. I mean, she is a wizard at these kinds of stuff. And the only reason why she isn't even better, excuse me as I adjust my hands as the dogs move around, Rocky, down, is because that she doesn't feel that's her calling, so that's not where she spent most of her time and her effort. So, she fixed it up as much as possible, and there were still other problems. And I'm not even using my Bluetooth headphones this time. They had a great microphone, but we're not sure if that's maybe part of the reason why we had so many issues. Irregardless, just keep on moving forward. And if it's just a checklist item, you know what? At least it's something. That book I was mentioning earlier, you know, I was continuing the habit, and the way the human brain works, you know, data went in. You know, it wasn't analyzed, it wasn't anything deep, but data went in. And the brain can now work with that in the background. So, as an update on other things, this week I finished Robert Kiyosaki's Rich Dad Poor Dad as part of my reading. So one of the things I want to do is make sure that I am reading every day. And for me, usually that's audiobooks. Quick tangent on audiobooks. Do I believe it is better to sit down with an actual physical book and read? That you can get more out of it. It's easier to leave notes. Yes. When you sit down to read a book, you have to be paying attention to that book. It requires more than just listening. So you're going to get more out of it. It's easier to take notes because obviously you're in a place where you could probably either write in the margins or have a notepad next to you. But once again, going back to that, what seems to be the theme of this video is just keep on going forward. My little pup's playing. And just, it would be very difficult for me to be able to set aside the time. Not impossible. Definitely not impossible. But it would be difficult for me to set aside enough time to sit down and read. And it's more likely that it wouldn't happen. So I've been doing audiobooks. And Rocky. So with those audiobooks, I've been reading audiobooks every day. Excuse me, as I adjust to deal with my dogs. Once again, you're getting raw stuff. Where I haven't even done my chores right now, where I usually do my cleaning up. I just ate breakfast, was sitting down, enjoying the dogs. When I started this video, they were laying down, all nice and peaceful, and thought, hey, I can get this in. I've tried several times before, and wasn't happy with the video. Things were going on, couldn't get my thoughts straight. Not necessarily that I have them straight now. Anyway, so one of the things that he talked about is the importance of your financial education. This is going back to Robert Kiyosaki. I know I've been all over the place. And how the school system is not set up to really teach you finances. They'll teach you math, they'll teach you things like that play into finances. You'll learn terms. But even in college level math classes, yes, I took college level math. Didn't do well in them, but I took them. You never really learned, finances. You learn how to add, subtract. you learn how to do simple interest. Which simple interest is all good and all, but no one uses simple interest anymore. Everything is compound interest. Especially if you're paying interest, then it's definitely compound interest. Simple interest only works. Only time I've ever seen it used is when between friends. Someone lends someone some money, like, yeah, I'll pay you some interest. Okay, we'll do, 5% simple interest or whatever. But you're saying, learn finances, learn accounting. And I never thought that I'd want to sit down and take accounting classes. And I'm not going to actually go to school to take accounting, at least not right now. But we have this wonderful thing called YouTube. Those of you who are watching me are probably on it right now. And there are courses on things like accounting on YouTube and other media that I can take advantage of and start learning how to do things like that and improving my financial education. Alright, so let's see. I kind of jumped around, but let's go ahead and go real quick in order. Silence. I say, without looking at my paper, I'm probably at 50% right now of actually, taking the time to say morning prayers. A lot of them were checklist prayers, but they were said. Affirmations, not good. I have them written out. But like I said, this hasn't been a good week for me, and I spent most of my time flying out the door because I was running late. Visualization. Not always as structured, but every day I think about what I want. Where I want to go, my ranch, my blacksmith and metalworking business, my writing. I think about that every day, so visualization is 100%. Could it be more structured? Yes, but it's getting done every day. Exercise, that's a 0. I have a very physically active job, so it's not like I'm stuck at a desk all day. I'm getting up, I'm getting down, moving around. So I haven't placed a high emphasis on that, especially with my time crunch. It just didn't seem... If I had to cut something, it seemed like that's where I should cut. Reading. Just about every day. Audiobook, anyway. And scribing. Not good. I haven't written anything down in my actual journal. I've tried to do this, which I think counts in some ways as scribing, but I've only actually recorded one, and this is going up irregardless of the messy house and the dogs and everything else, just so I can get it up. Some of the other things I have on my checklist are scriptures. That hasn't gone well. Evening prayer and audio, video, education. So things like YouTube, things like podcasts, and that actually that's 100%. Someone just closed the door, and so the dogs obviously have to act like World War III just took off. So, anyway, I'm going to go ahead and end this vlog here. There's more I could say, more I want to say, but I think I should wait till I'm in a better situation mentally and more prepared. And hopefully my wife won't kill me for putting this vlog up without cleaning the house first. Alright, so for me, Max, Rocky, and Milo, Van Dyson out.